let's talk about economic indicators. Are they really a crystal ball that can predict the future, or are they more like a rearview mirror, just showing us where we've already been? Well, let's dive in and find out. You know the feeling. You turn on the news and they're talking about booms, busts, recessions, recoveries, and you just kind of think, how do they know that? It can feel like they're all just taking a wild guess, right? But is that what's really going on?
Well, here's the thing. It's not magic, and it's definitely not a guessing game. Turns out there's a real method to the madness, and it all comes down to using a very specific set of tools. Tools designed to read the vital signs of an economy.
So, how do we actually start reading these signs? Well, these tools are called economic indicators, and they are the key to making sense of it all. Okay, so what is an economic indicator? At its core, it's really just a piece of data, a statistic. It gives us a quick snapshot of how the economy is doing. You can think of it like a vital sign that a doctor uses, like taking its temperature or checking its pulse.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because not all indicators are created equal. Let's start with the most exciting kind, the ones that try to give us a little peek into the future. These are what we call leading indicators. And the name says it all. They lead. The whole point is that they change before the rest of the economy does. And that's what makes them such powerful tools for forecasting what might be just around the corner.
So, the easiest way to wrap your head around this, a leading indicator is basically the economy's crystal ball. It's our best shot at trying to see what lies ahead.
And I bet you've heard of most of these. Take the stock market. It's not really about what a company is worth today. It's about what investors think it's going to be worth in the future. Same with building permits. They signal construction that hasn't happened yet. They're all about what's coming. The logic here is pretty straightforward, right? A company gets a permit to build a new factory today. That's a huge clue that there are going to be new construction jobs and a lot more spending tomorrow. The work hasn't started, but the permit tells us it's coming. But here's the catch. No crystal ball is perfect. Sometimes the market tanks for a week and then bounces right back. Or a developer gets a permit and then nothing happens. So leading indicators can give false signals, which is why they're only one part of the story. So if the crystal ball can be a little foggy, how do we know for sure what actually happened? Well, that's where our second big tool comes into play, lagging indicators. A lagging indicator is the complete opposite of a leading one. It only changes after an economic trend is already well underway. So its job isn't to predict anything, its job is to confirm what we've already been through. So, if leading indicators are the crystal ball looking forward, then lagging indicators are the economy's rearview mirror. They don't show you what's coming. They show you with perfect clarity exactly where you've just been. And again, these are all things you'll recognize. The official GDP number for the last quarter, well, that only comes out after the quarter is over. And think about the unemployment rate. It only really starts to fall after the economy has already been growing for a while. This is the key, right? I mean, if you owned a business, you wouldn't hire a bunch of new people based on a hunch. No way. You'd wait until you saw your sales numbers were solid and you felt confident. So when unemployment goes down, it confirms the recovery isn't just a prediction, it's already here. So that's the big trade-off. The rearview mirror is incredibly accurate. It tells you exactly what happened, no doubt about it. But it's totally useless for seeing that sharp turn up ahead. It's fantastic for analysis, not so much for forecasting. Okay, so we've got a foggy crystal ball and a crystal clear rearview mirror. How on earth do you navigate with a setup like that? Well, as you've probably figured out, you absolutely need both to see the whole picture. It really is a simple trade-off when you lay it all out. Leading indicators are for forecasting, but they're less reliable. Lagging indicators are for confirming what happened, and they're way more accurate. They're just two different sides of the very same coin. So here's how the experts put it all together. First, they look at the preview, that's the leading indicators, to get a sense of where things might be headed. Then they wait for the review, the lagging indicators, to see if that forecast was on the money. You only get a truly balanced view by combining them both. So let's bring this all home. You now have the basic toolkit that economists and policymakers are using every single day to try and see the road ahead. Because when you get right down to it, navigating the economy is like any other journey. You have to have some idea of what's coming up on the road, but it is just as crucial to understand the path you've already traveled to get where you are. One without the other gives you a really incomplete and maybe even a dangerous view of the world. So if you want one last way to think about it, it's this.
Leading indicators are like the road signs up ahead, warning you about a sharp curve. And lagging indicators, those are the footprints in the sand, showing you exactly where you've come from.
You need both to truly know where you are. So the next time you see a headline about consumer confidence or the latest unemployment numbers, you'll know exactly what you're looking at. Is it the forecast or is it the confirmation? The real question is, now that you can read the signs, which one will you be watching more closely?